Morning, everybody. Welcome to LOCPOD, Season 12, Episode 16. We were deep in discussion over here.
Ready.
We're coming to you live from the NICA IBW Powering
ready.
Indiana Lake County Studios, and we're the Midwest's most dangerous podcast. We were in deep discussion.
Yeah. But I was ready to go. I'm a professional.
Was that the second? That was the second one,
That
right?
was, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Welcome. Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Hey, what's up, Joe?
Good morning to the
How's it going,
locomotive.
Living the dream.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
Welcome back.
Thanks.
Yeah. Dude, we have a show.
Yeah, that's right.
I was
Welcome
looking at
back.
the show notes.
Thank you to Johnny Law.
Yeah, that was good. I appreciate you guys' cover. It's always nice to get a cover.
Yeah.
And then not have to worry about pre-show, and I have to worry about... I literally was like packing up to go on a boat.
Well, if I recall, last Tuesday, you actually forgot we had a show. So that makes all week of you being
weird because
tuned
we
out.
do pre-show so early. And it like because I'm used to doing pre-show at like 8 o'clock, going home, going to bed, waking up and going.
Well, the Monday before that, Tuesday, you forgot. We did it late.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah, whatever.
I have a feeling today we're going to get the no bullshit Kevin. Like, he's just, like, ready to go.
No, I'm fine.
Let's get on to the first story.
I agree with you, by the way.
Fuck the
I'm fine.
chit-chat.
Fucking no shit.
No,
Dude.
I'm
You
good.
can just tell he's like
I'm good.
salt and pepper.
I'm
like
totally
right
good.
What happened last night, Kevin?
Nothing, no.
You woke up
That's
on the
part
wrong
of the
side
problem,
of the bed.
right?
I did have an issue with one of the kids. So
Okay.
but I don't think that's doing it. That was fine.
Interesting.
Explain.
Yeah.
Charlie lost his phone.
Charlie.
At a concert.
Oh.
At the Chief Keef concert.
Oh.
Chief Keef.
Chief
Yeah, man.
Keef,
What's
he's
that?
banned.
Yeah,
Nah,
he's banned.
he's back.
Hammond residents aren't allowed to hear him.
That's what I was like.
Doesn't Charlie know the rules?
Earmuffs,
Should.
Charlie.
What the hell,
earmuffs.
Charlie?
He said it must have been. He said, "Dad, it must have been pickpocketed or stolen." I was
What?
Like, really?
At a
I'm
Chief
sure.
Keef concert?
shocked.
He
Yeah,
got
right.
pickpocketed?
what he
No.
Wait, did you know they were going to Chief Keef?
I did not. I knew they were going to Summer Splash.
Okay.
And apparently, Chief Keef was the surprise or the headline on one of the days.
They were
Was
talking
it a-
shit about
was it a
Hammond.
Charlie was there
hologram or
3
was it
days.
real?
Apparently, it was real. Three
But
days.
they were talking shit about Hammond there, and like it brought
What?
out like bad press for Hammond yesterday. Because
I don't
for
think
those
it's
of you that aren't
necessarily
aware,
bad press.
I
by
agree
the
with
way.
you. For those of you that aren't aware, it was like what 2015, 2014,
Yeah, whatever that.
2013.
Whenever Dave Westland got married, whatever the year that was,
We shut
so-
down the Chief Keef concert in Hammond because we had an agreement that he wasn't going to go on, and then they played a hologram,
Yeah,
which was a
They tried
wrinkle.
to-
But we failed safe. We shut it down anyway.
Because it actually wasn't a Chief Keef concert.
Right,
They just
that's right.
randomly threw him up there.
That's
And
right,
then,
Joe.
it wasn't a Chief Keef concert. They said they weren't gonna, and then they put a hologram of him up, and he was rapping. And
they even said that Chance the Rapper was going to be the surprise guest. At
so
the
we
time.
shut it down. Well,
Lies.
yeah.
that was they lied to us. But anyway, it made news across the world.
Yes, it did.
The London Daily Globe, Rolling Stone
BBC.
magazine, BBC,
Yes,
badass. Yeah, that was good. That was good stuff.
like you said, when I was in New York and I picked up the New York Times and saw my city in the paper,
Dude.
I knew we had a problem.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah, that was a while ago.
Yeah,
Yeah. So anyway,
but I'm fine.
yeah, so you were grumpy. That was amazing how you pulled that out.
I really am not though, John. I'm just.
John pulled it out. It was
Yeah.
amazing. Like John's like, there's something going on with
I don't
Kevin.
even think that's it. I was really calm about it. I was just very matter of fact about it. It's like, okay, well, I guess you're working now to pay for a phone.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
Wait, what about Find My iPhone?
Yeah. I was looking at.
Come on.
They have this,
Yeah.
they have
Is
this
that not
feature.
on?
I have no idea. I didn't
What
ask
the
those
hell?
questions.
Like,
Aw.
don't you ask that, Charlie?
Aren't you
what
a
about
lawyer?
Find Your iPhone?
Yeah.
Right.
Don't you ask questions for a living?
no, but I don't know anything about this. You know, I don't know. All of a sudden,
Dude, Find Your
it's
iPhone
gone.
is huge.
It is.
Like
Yeah.
I use it all the time. Especially I do the Apple Watch thing where
Oh, yeah.
By
like
now, it's
where the
probably
hell
in
is my
China.
phone?
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
That's how I
awesome.
found my AirPods in the leaf bag that one time.
Yeah.
That was crazy. It's effective.
I expected more from you, Kevin, like to have a handle on your family's technology more than this. To be
No.
honest. I'm a little disappointed.
Yeah.
I try to
Yeah.
stay away from their technology. And it's like,
Oh, you're not that one. Who is it, Johnson? You're
Yeah,
not-
right.
You don't have the apps on your phone.
where I'm watching what porn they're
My
watching.
porn app. Patrick and I share a porn app.
He's now a house. He's now
He
our
polices me.
Speaker of the House.
Patrick's like, Dad, get off the porn app. This is how we roll in our family.
Yeah, it's not Tom policing Patrick. It's Patrick
Yeah.
policing Tom. Hey, Dad.
So anyway, yeah.
Sorry, we took a left turn. But anyway, thanks to Johnny C was a good fill-in. He was great. Got to talk about his trial. We had a lot of stuff to talk about, so he's always great.
Johnny Law is like genuinely happy when he's asked
Yeah,
to
man,
be a
it's
guest.
good.
Like he is the most eager of our LOCPOD guests.
I love him.
Johnny is
He's my favorite.
he's smart and funny. He is
And
unique.
he's quick-witted.
unique, definitely quick, which is why he's litigator.
Rear
That's right.
Godfather of booty.
Yeah,
Rear
Don.
Don.
Rear Don. I was like, man, that's good. But anyway, you were on a boat, right?
Did we write that into the
Yeah,
ads for
it was
today?
the title.
Oh yeah, the
Godfather of booty.
Yeah, that
Nice.
was great.
Yeah.
Ruden's gonna have to get a shirt with that.
The Godfather of booty. Yeah, I was hanging with Kev for a day. We were sly. We snuck out of the studio right after our Tuesday show and went down to watch the sad, sorry, pathetic fucking Chicago Cubs.
inside of a circus tent. It looks.
Yes,
like.
it was basically
What
inside
is
of a circus
Tropicana
tent.
Field, rated the worst Major League Baseball stadium out of all 30.
However,
And
I
I
will-
liked it there.
I'll say one thing: it's nice to be in the air conditioning when it's like 90 and 95 and sticky out in Tampa. So,
Dude, the first game, there was less than 10,000 fans there. And it was 80% Cub fans. And the Cubs disappointed us, of course.
yeah,
With a freaking...
you got to see him get walked off.
Dude, they suck so bad. It's embarrassing. What a freaking disgrace of a product they put on the field this year. I'm like in the process of writing them out of my memory bank.
Notre Dame football can't come.
Dude,
Can't come
thank God for
quickly.
the Olympics this year.
Yeah, good point.
Right? The
Olympics are
Olympics are
coming.
going to keep me distracted through August,
Yes.
and then we'll roll right into football season.
Being a
People
soccer
still
fan, I'm
care about
enjoying the
the
Euros.
Olympics?
What's that?
Do people still care about the Olympics?
I
We're
think
at Olympics
so.
house. Marissa and I watch the Olympics.
Same. We do
Yeah.
too. A lot of Olympics, especially the swimming. I enjoy the swimming, and
I like, I like the Olympics.
I do too.
I like Winter Olympics better though. You can
Really?
munch yourself up better in the winter. Yeah,
Wow.
I love skiing. The skiing.
Yeah, that's always a lot of fun.
And then summer, it's like what, women basketball.
It's
Wow,
like
wonder
stuff
if they're
you
gonna
can
win
watch
the
all
gold.
the time
Yeah.
in summer.
Yeah, that's true. What's your favorite?
I don't know. I don't really watch the Olympics.
Mine is just a distraction from the Cubs.
That's
And I'm
true
used to
too.
this. Every 4 years, I'm looking for a reason to get out of the baseball season.
Yeah, and like I was saying, if you're a soccer fan, the Euros are on right now, so that's every day. So that's a nice little distraction for me.
Yeah, but Tampa Bay, I was hanging. Kevin and I were hanging there. Kevin
Yeah.
and his high school buddy broke off and hung out with Kevin's son, Ethan. I broke off with the Navy buddy who has a place right on the bay and went fishing for 3 days.
Let's see some fishing photos. These aren't fishing stories. These are reality. This is unbelievable.
Yeah,
Look at
Kevin
that.
was giving me shit. I was like, dude, I caught a huge fish. And he's like, is that just a fishing story? I'm
Well-
like, no, I caught a freaking humongous fish.
And then he proved it. And I
Yeah.
was like, I wasn't doubting. I was just, it was kind of
25
like an
inch
LOL,
grouper.
by the way.
25-inch grouper,
That is
15
impressive,
pounds.
man.
That's a good picture.
Yeah.
It's
Well-
like 7 of us, Joe. 7.
What I was also impressed about was how cool your Grateful Dead swim trunks were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got
Those
for
are
Christmas.
awesome.
Yeah, I got those for Christmas this year.
Those are good.
Did
But
you
like-
zoom in to see that, Kevin?
I did.
Okay.
Let's
I
get
did.
in there, nice and tight.
Get in
Yeah.
there tight.
Yeah,
See
look
that
at
Irish
those.
package? Woo!
Still go. Keep zooming.
Yeah,
Those
right.
are really cool shorts.
It
though.
like it goes inside my body there.
Look at that fish and look at those shorts.
Yeah.
Both very cool.
But I had fish guts all over me for like a couple, a few days in a row.
So when Greg and Tom came to the game that night, because we met them there, I was like, "Hey, you guys want to get some? You want to grab some food or whatever?" They're like, "Dude, we just ate the grouper that Tom caught," and I was like,
Literally,
"What?"
Yeah.
So like Greg
7 of us ate
filleted it, and you guys made it. That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
so cool.
Dude, it was, I like grouper too. I didn't know I liked grouper until I caught that one and ate it. And,
Look how gorgeous the water looks too.
yeah. How far out are you?
about 30 miles.
No
What?
way.
Yeah.
That's
you guys
like
went out
international.
30 miles? 30?
Way the fuck out there.
You could dump a body if it's
Oh,
international.
yeah. I was thinking
Holy
that's what Greg
30
was going to do.
miles.
I was thinking Greg was going to do that to me.
Hold
actually.
on.
We
I
were
got to
way-
text Greg.
30 miles. That would take a long time.
He was
It took
he was
us
almost
over
to
an hour.
Cuba.
Oh my god.
Took us over an hour. We were way the hell out there. And by the way, guess how, well, the water there is like 30 feet deep, which is deep compared to what we were. And then if you go another like 15 miles out, you can catch snapper. It's more like 80 feet deep out there. But like we were closer to shore for a lot of it, and it was only 10 feet deep. And you were literally like 3 miles out there. You're way out there.
Someone
And
mentioned
then
that to me
you
when
could
I was
touch
out there. They
bottom.
said the bay is really shallow.
Yeah, I mentioned that too.
It was you that okay, you told
It's
me
like
that.
where we were way out there, like a couple miles out there, few miles out there, 10 feet deep.
And you had those like reels like into the like how hard was it to catch the fish? Was that like just
super hard.
really?
The grouper's so freaking heavy. We had one on line for an hour and we couldn't pull it in. We ended up breaking the line because
Wow.
it was just like laughing at us. I was so sore after that. I was fighting mine for 45 minutes.
So when you're fighting the grouper, like is it in the metal thing where the reels are, or do
No,
you
I
actually have
was
the
holding
reel?
it.
You have the reel out.
I had, yeah, because
Oh, wow.
we had it. I forgot which mode you have it in. You have it in like a lock mode where if the fish pulls too hard, it'll snap the line. So there's another mode you put it in where the fish could pull it out and you could pull it also. You could both, but like it's like a battle. Like, and the fish was.
So in other words, are you reeling it in more than he pulled it out?
Right, exactly,
Kind of thing?
exactly.
Wow,
And what the
that's so
groupers
cool.
try to get underneath the rocks, and if they get underneath the rocks, it's game over. Game over. So that's their first instinct. When they get hooked, they try to go down, and you got to pull them up. If you can get them out of the rocks, you win. So my first one, I didn't even know what I was doing, and I nailed him, and I got him up. And then I started realizing how lucky I was because, like, we had one, like I said, online for an hour. I got below the rocks. We weren't moving that thing. It was hooked, too. I don't know what we ended up breaking the line. That grouper is going to go around the rest of his life.
What a fisherman you are. That was pretty cool.
Dude, that was badass. So this is one of the days where, because what we were doing, we were chumming the water before we started fishing.
There you go.
So, like, we chummed the water and killed it on the first day. So this is the second day when we were chumming the water and we were catching.
Explain to our listeners what that is.
Greg would buy this bait. You literally throw it off the back of the boat and it just like hangs out in the water and it slowly disintegrates and it just like leaches away like shrimp and blood, and it's nasty. But we couldn't go swimming because we were chumming the water and we're out there with sharks and stuff. So
speaking of,
I start fighting this fish. And this was posed, by the way. I had to fight to get this thing up. It looks like it's almost dead because him and I just got done fighting all the way to the surface, but I just caught this shark.
Oh, is this a video?
This is a video.
Oh,
yeah.
let's check it out.
All right. Got a shark. Check this out. Ready? You got it? Yep. Holy
Whoa.
crap. It's a monster. It's like 2 feet long.
Big old shark.
It's like it looks like a baby
who's
shark.
getting it off the hook?
Baby shark, baby shark. So
That's awesome.
So Greg, we were hooking sharks like crazy because we must have chummed too much that day, right? And when the sharks come out, forget about it. We weren't catching any fish that day. The fish just took off.
Because they're not. We're hanging around.
We're catching sharks. I would throw my bait in, and you would see sharks start attacking your bait, like 3 or 4 sharks going after my bait before he could even get to the bottom.
Oh, wow.
So you're just like, and then even when it got to the bottom, the sharks were eating it, and then you end up pulling up a shark, and you can't eat shark.
Right.
So so Greg has this big one. He's hooked, and usually I would catch the shark and Greg would take it off because Greg's the real fisherman and I'm just I'm a freaking city boy, right? So Greg hooks a shark and he's like, "Okay, Tom, you got to take it off." And I'm shitting my pants. Like, this thing's got teeth and stuff, right?
Oh, no way.
And I'm
No
supposed
way.
to put this tool like real close to its mouth and then twist it, and then the shark by its weight falls off the hook.
I don't think I would do that.
Well, we had no choice. It was the 2 of us.
Yeah.
So I did it and mangled that poor fucker. Yeah. It floated down when we got it off. It was floating down with its stomach towards the sky. I didn't think that was a good sign. It was so sad.
It's becoming the chum.
It was definitely chum. Yeah, but
So we're not going to have a stuffed shark on the wall next
no
year?
stuffed shark. No,
But
but
that'd have been cool.
Yeah, Greg started flopping around in the boat though. It was crazy. It was like, and then we're like, "What the hell do you do now?" It's sitting there. Yeah. So
Whoa.
it was a good
Fishing
trip.
adventures. That's great.
Yeah, I don't fish very often, but now that I have a buddy that with a place in Tampa,
And then knows how to do it.
yeah, he's really good. He
He's
knows where to go.
equipped.
He has, and it's cool. Like on the boat, you could GPS it. You could like just like on maps, on Apple Maps, you could press pin drops. So like we went to that first place, and we were just getting constant bites. It was crazy. Our bait was getting stolen more than we were pulling them in, but we had constant action the first day. Like, I would fish every day of my life. It was like this. We literally threw the hook in, and they would start hitting it as soon as you threw it in.
Wow.
And it was like that the whole
That
damn
was the grouper day?
That was the grouper day. I was like, that was the first day we would fish, and I'm like, holy shit, is this like this? And Greg's like, dude, I've never seen it like this. But keep in mind, it rained like hell the day before we got there. So we're thinking that probably had something. It was incredible.
been,
Kicked
yeah.
everything up.
Yeah.
They were I could have thrown in a freaking nickel and they would have eaten it, dude. They were anything that hit the water they were going for, right? And it was like our bait was just getting taken, and we were pulling them in. We'd thrown a lot of them back that day, but like that first day was really cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, it was nice.
Congrats. That's it. It was not a fish story. It actually happened.
Apparently, I'm quite the fisherman. Yeah.
Apparently you are.
Sounds like a fun trip.
Is that your new hobby now?
Whenever Greg says, "Come on down," it's my new hobby. Greg said, "Come on
Visiting
down."
Greg in Tampa is that's a great hobby.
Oh, I'll visit Greg in Tampa all the time. He's got like a big old house. His wife travels a lot, so he's there a lot by himself.
You guys can chill and fish.
He was like in the Navy. Him and I were like inseparable. So, yeah.
On the same sub as you.
Yeah. That's how I met him. So,
all right.
Hey, dude, I immediately saw something while I was away, though, that tested the LOCPOD theory I wanted to talk to you guys about. This is like right after we did the last show. We did the, what is it, half your age plus 7 if you're dating a young woman or a young man.
Oh, the Red Hot Chili Pepper story.
Yes, which Anthony Kiedis was dating she looked like a damn 14-year-old. That's
that was
disgusting.
young.
I can't listen to Red Hot Chili Peppers anymore. It makes me want to barf.
It's funny. I heard a Red Hot Chili Peppers song come on when I was in Tampa, and I immediately just thought of that photo of the two of them. I was like, oh,
He's
man.
a sorry ass. Like,
It's never not been creepy, though.
but still, like, come on. For God's sakes, you're the lead singer of a band. Go get a woman. You got a little girl.
It was weird.
Get a woman. You're a freaking Red Hot Chili Pepper.
She looks very young.
So he violated the LOCPOD rule.
Well, I don't know if it's a
It's our
LOCPOD rule,
LOCPOD
but
It's
it
the
is a
LOCPOD rule of creepiness. It's the creepiness factor. It's
Creepiness rule.
the LOCPOD creepiness rule. It is this. The LOCPOD creepiness rule says if you're dating somebody younger than you or married to, it has to be half your age plus 7.
Which is a very traditional, way to look at it, apparently.
So I'm 55. It's very traditional. It's the LOCPOD creepiness rule.
Okay.
It's rooted in American jurisprudence.
and French.
I was
in French,
fascinated to read
literature.
these show notes about
Right,
this.
John?
Yes.
I did a little research on
That's
it.
wow.
So
Didn't just come out of nowhere.
So Kevin and I are 55. So Jill, how old are you?
42.
So Jill is 42. So could I hook up with
Yes.
Yes.
Jill? Well, let's do the math. 55 divided by 2 is
27 and a half.
27 and a half plus 7, 34.
34 and a half.
Anybody older than 34 and a half, I'm available.
And anybody younger than 34 and a half, you're not.
You violate the LOCPOD creepiness
I mean, you
rule.
could do it. You're just violating the creepiness rule.
Right.
Okay.
LOCPOD creepiness
Like
rule.
Leonardo DiCaprio violates it all the time.
Oh, yeah.
He loves those young ladies.
Mm-hmm.
Leonardo DiCaprio needs to recreate the rules
Yeah.
so that he's not such a creep.
I knew Marissa was going to chat.
Yeah.
She said, no, you cannot. Right when you said, lady, I'm available. If you're over the 34 and I knew it was coming.
Theoretically, honey. Theoretically.
Theoretically.
It's all theory.
So the reason that we're bringing up the LOCPOD creepiness rule is this. Bill Belichick,
Oh.
Yeah.
former coach of the New England Patriots, longtime coach, Super Bowl award-winning coach.
70-something, right?
Famous Croatian.
72. He's a famous Croatian.
70.
Is he?
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Like on
I've
internet.
never heard that statement before.
Like just
Famous Croatian.
There's-
Like,
there
what?
must not be a lot of
He
them
is
if you're fixing
Yeah.
That's probably true, but he likes like how they have like International Day in the NFL. He always wears like Croatian flag on his jersey. So I thought that's kind of
Did not
cool.
know that.
And he goes to Croatia
How come
every year.
Smith Sursick doesn't have Croatian flags anywhere?
We should. I think Marissa got me a cup that I have in my office. By the way,
I want to ask Steve Sursick why there's no Croatian flags in there.
he's got some stuff in his
I
office.
know, man. It's a Croatian law firm. I never really thought about it like that. So anyway, Bill Belichick, 72, has a new love interest. It's a
Yeah. Love.
So
Yeah.
let's find out if this violates the LOCPOD creepiness factor, okay? So TMZ Sports has learned that Bill Belichick is dating a 24-year-old former competitive cheerleader, Jordan Hudson. Sources close to the situation tell us the two have been romantic for a while now, becoming an item shortly after the New England Patriots head coach called off his longtime relationship with Linda Holliday. Our sources say, though, we do have sources at LOCPOD.
I love when you can say that.
We have sources at LOCPOD. This is what our sources say. That soon after Belichick split with Holliday, which we're told privately took place during the 22 season, they became more than just friends. That's right. They kept things on the low, only briefly being spotted here and there, but our sources tell us that Hudson quietly supported Belichick at his games at Gillette Stadium throughout the 22 and 23 seasons. Did you know that, Kevin?
I did not.
Okay, so
You've got good sources.
we do have good sources.
You
LOCPOD.
don't even have to do the math on this one. You could just look at
Well,
the
let's
picture.
just go through this exercise.
Math not needed.
No.
Yeah, so 24 was 72. 72, half of 72.
36.
36 plus 7.
43.
He violates the LOCPOD creepiness factor. Bill Belichick.
Man. Well, I don't think he's that disappointed though.
Yeah.
He doesn't look.
He's like, all right, I'm
He
a
doesn't
creep.
look unhappy.
I'm a creep. I'll take it.
None of these guys look unhappy when they violate the rule.
You're like, excuse me, Coach Belichick. Are you aware that you're violating the LOCPOD creepiness factor by dating Miss Jordan? And he's like, I'll take it.
Yeah, he's like, all right, I don't know who those guys are.
I
but
am
okay.
creepy.
Yeah, LOCPOD who?
So
Yeah.
where
What-
did this
what is
rule,
that?
Where did this rule come from, Kevin?
So
this dates back.
Yeah,
way
this
back.
is really interesting. So, it's often credited to a French author named Max Aurel, also known as Léon Paul Blouet. In his 1901 love manual, named
You
Her
know
Royal
it's
Highness
gonna
Woman
be weird if it's French.
and His Majesty Cupid. In it, he uses a mathematical formula applied to the ideal age of a bride as half the groom's age plus 7. So then it turned into, are you your romantic partners? And it was popularized in the 50s and through some other 53 films.
I'm gonna have
Malcolm
to-
X used it.
Jesus. They
I'm
were
gonna have to read
marrying
more about this
10-year-olds
guy.
back then.
Yeah, right. This is, and then it
Hey,
became
Kevin,
part
could
of
you
the
give me that-
OkCupid profile.
Could you give me that info? I want to read that book.
Okay, I'll give you that.
I'll peruse it and have Marissa go walking by when I'm sitting there reading.
Her Royal Highness Women and His Majesty Cupid. There you go. It's going to be on your coffee table.
All right, so we're going to keep on doing these math equations whenever we find out about our new couples. But yes, Belichick and this
I like what
24-year-old
Jill
model.
said.
What's that?
She said, "You don't even have to do the math. I don't have to do the math.
We don't have to do the math. He violated the LOCPOD creepiness factor.
All right, there you go.
But he seems like he's still content with his life, despite this badge of shame.
Seems so happy.
The badge of shame. You get the LOCPOD badge of shame.
And yet you still have a smile
Look
on
at
your
him.
face.
He's still happy. I don't get it. Yeah.
And she looks. There's no shame in her eyes. It's just.
Well,
you
it
know,
looks like a different chick from the first picture in that
Does it?
article. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's the same,
that's
but
her.
Yeah.
But I mean, the
She's a smoke show.
interesting thing about this is that like I was interested in the fact that like Belichick is like having her help with his business, endeavors
Well,
and things like
Belichick
that.
probably doesn't know how to use freaking iPad and stuff like that.
Right. There you go.
You know what I'm saying? He's like, "Can you turn on this computer for me?" And she's like, turning on his iPad. You know?
Anthony Kiedis is just groping his like 19-year-old girlfriend. That's
Anthony
all I
Kiedis
saw.
doesn't know how to use an iPad either.
Really?
But he's a rock star. He doesn't need to.
All right. Well, listen.
Ew.
This is now we have a new bit.
A LOCPOD bit.
LOCPOD
Yeah.
creepiness rule. All right. Listen.
well-
we've got, go ahead. Tom.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to preview
Yeah,
the show. Is
take
that
it.
where you're
Do
going?
it, yeah.
We're going to come back in section 2, and there's power in a strong media. There is a lot of power when it's done right, and the IndyStar has recently run a 3-part expose that was incredible. It was really, I was captivated reading the whole thing. It was about the casino industry in Indiana, about a gentleman named Radcliff. He's an Indianapolis casino mogul that put together an empire. And I knew this person and was not in his orbit. I was aware of him. He was aware of me, but we weren't friends or anything. But like I only really had to work with this person because he took on a position against the city of Hammond. And I was beating on this guy, Radcliff. So we're going to play clips for you that I played back in 2019 that were sort of calling the shot.
Once again,
like Babe Ruth.
Once again, I think it goes to the fact that, and we'll talk about this a little bit, but I mean, you've got a feel for what's going on in
Yeah.
politics, and I think you
I called it on
before
that
it
one.
before it was called.
Well,
so.
I've said a lot of shit on LOCPOD that'll never come true, but every once in a while, I'll say some stuff that sticks, and we'll play it for you.
We won't forget.
So we're going to play that. That's a really good segment. We're going to play a clip from WJOB. It's pretty incredible. And then in the third segment, dude, this is crazy what's going on in Indiana GOP with conventions. Like, it seems that the powers that be cannot control the convention at all. It never turns out the way they want. And something crazy just happened in Indiana, and we're going to talk about that as well.
All right, so let's do. That's great preview.
Thank
Stay
you.
tuned on whatever platform you're listening to, including Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, et cetera, et cetera.
Stitcher, Grindr, Yahoo. I think Yahoo plays this now. Isn't Yahoo? I still got a Yahoo email, isn't it?
I do too.
It's like
I only use it. For
I got it in
sports
1981.
Apple. What's the Apple Pod? What do we call that, John?
What do you mean?
If you're listening to a podcast on Apple, what is it called? Apple Pod?
Apple Podcast.
Thank you.
Power in Indiana Lake County is your source for the region's most trusted electricians. Are you thinking of finishing your basement or installing outdoor security cameras? Or does your business have plans to break ground on a new project? Don't leave important projects in the wrong hands. With IBEW Local 697 electricians, you're choosing the highest level of safety and reliability. Visit poweringindiana.org today and ensure your project is in the hands of skilled professionals who deliver on time and on budget. Find your electrical contractor at poweringindiana.org.
When you want the best for your home and family, trust the best in the business, Rogers Roofing. Rogers Roofing has transformed homes in Northwest Indiana and Chicagoland for more than 55 years, providing quality roofing, siding, gutters, and windows, all backed by the best warranties in the industry. To learn more and to schedule your free consultation, visit rogersroofing.com or call 219-933-9145 today. That's rogersroofing.com or 933-9145. And remember, at Rogers Roofing, excellence is expected every time.
MCR Partners is your one-stop destination for top-notch expertise in economic development, finance, and planning. With a dedicated team geared up to tackle your projects head-on, they're your go-to comprehensive solution providers. Dive into the world of economic development with MCR Partners and let them guide you through the maze of opportunities. Check out their website at mcrpartnersllc.com, or for tailored assistance, don't hesitate to reach out. to the godfather of booty, Matt Reardon.
Jeez, I'm sure Murray
Reardon.
appreciates that.
Matt Reardon at 219-741-9511.
All right. By the way, he was closing a deal on Swanell.
Yes,
in
he did.
Hammond. So MCR Partners closing a deal right in the city I'm mayor of, independently, of course.
Yeah,
But,
it just goes to show you.
representing the business.
Yeah, and I think that's part of it. Like I sometimes think of Matt as doing like government stuff, but he also does a lot of private.
Yeah.
He takes on huge amount of private clients.
Yeah. Misprint Printing. Elevate your brand with Misprint, the premier printing and sign solution in Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana. With a 30-year legacy of excellence, their experienced team, led by Rick Baltensberger, combines innovation and technology to deliver top-quality signs and printing, always on time and within budget. Conveniently located in Munster and Hammond, Misprint is your partner for creating impactful visual solutions. Visit them at misprintusa.com to bring your vision to life today.
Kevin, you're like Vanna White.
Yeah, I was just pointing out all the misprint things we had in here. All right, Jill, ready?
Oh, there's more.
Yes, that's why it says
Sorry.
more at the bottom.
Sorry. Phone it in today.
I try to do that on these
Passive
things.
aggressive, you know.
That's
kind of
why
a-
it's
That's
watching.
why it says more at the
softball.
bottom, you dumb.
You dumb fucking idiot. I was watching you like wave your arms in the air for a minute.
It's mesmerizing, wasn't it?
It was. Or terrifying. Cantrell and Cantrell, attorneys at law. Are you injured or in trouble with the law? Give us a call and schedule your consultation today with somebody who is in the court and at the jail every day. Call John Cantrell at 219-554-4LAW or visit their website at bettercallcantrell.com. John and his wife, Kristen, make a great team and are waiting to hear from you.
Calumet Brewing. Michelob Ultra is a superior light beer brewed for those who understand that it's only worth it if you enjoy it. Containing only 95 calories and 2.6 carbs, Michelob Ultra is a light lager brewed with the perfect balance of hops and wholesome grains, producing a crisp, refreshing finish. With great Michelob Ultra partners like Lionel Messi and epic summer events, including the Festival of the Lakes, Team USA Soccer, and the 2024 Olympics, there's no better time to crack open a cold one. Head over to Cal Brewer Michelob Ultra social media for info on this great family of beers. Enjoy the Michelob Ultra lifestyle with beers and cheers responsibly.
All right. Thanks to our sponsors.
Stop. That's what it says at the bottom of that page.
Now you can stop.
Stop.
I was talking about the power of strong media, which is unfortunately waning in power and influence. I mean, I could tell you from the local level what I've seen over the last 20 years happen to my two local major newspapers. They're devastated. They're
And around the country.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak to around the country. I could just tell you, like right here, the two I watch like a hawk. I've been looking at you as well since we were little kids. It's a hollow shell of what it used to be.
Yeah, I mean, and the reporters they have are good reporters. It's
Yes.
just they don't have the coverage they used to have.
A couple good reporters,
Right,
and the major newspaper we have, I'm not. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to name names. I'm not trying to besmirch them.
Right,
It's just a fact.
it's the industry.
It's just a fact. There's literally a couple good reporters. When I first took over as mayor, I would have reporters assigned to my city, and they would go to all the meetings I would go to, and you would develop relationships because you'd see them constantly.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe you said a couple good reporters. The fact is there are a couple reporters. Not even, you know what I mean? Like
but they're good.
Yeah, they're good. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, like, they can't cover every city in town in our area.
It's a couple. And they
Agree.
have, I imagine, multiple stories they could run, but they only have time to
Cover one or
they
two
do
of them.
one a day probably. So there's 10 stories available today, and you pick 1 or 2 to run. That means 8 don't get covered. And then the next day, there's 10 more stories waiting.
Right.
So you can't go backwards and cover the 8 you missed the day before. You just let them go.
And it's just the industry. I mean, I think back to when you became mayor, and like, for example, the local papers had like an in-house cartoonist.
Yep.
They had photographers all
Yep.
over the place.
They
And now-
took editorials that would take positions on issues, and it would mean something. Like the Times, my local paper that was major, it's major in the city of Hammond, would take positions on issues. They would say, I think Mayor McDermott is wrong on this issue, and this is why we think it's wrong. It would be like a pronouncement from God. It would never have a name attached to it. It'd just be like, we editors think
The
this
editorial
is wrong.
page, right.
And it carried weight. It was like, it mattered. I would see that and I would get pissed, man, or I would be happy because they'd support me. And sometimes I'm like, fuck these guys, they don't even know shit about my city. But like, there was that argument out there, right? There's none of that now. Like none. They have nobody that even knows the issues in my city outside of a couple reporters. The editors, I don't even know who the freaking editors are.
Well, and like you said, it's not a criticism of necessarily the papers. To me, it's a criticism. It's just the industry has changed.
I'm not criticizing the newspaper. It's not their fault that people stopped consuming news the way they used to.
Right.
That's what happened. And now it's a lot more competitive. I can pull my phone out and read real time. I could read stuff going on right now, and my local paper can't get to me until the next day, you know? Mm-hmm. So anyway, what I've seen over the last 20 years is just a hollowing out of the local media. Really, like, they've lost tons of money. They've lost tons of ads. They've lost ridiculous amount of readership. Yep. I already know that in this studio, Kevin's a subscriber, and so am I because we're 55. But Jill, you don't. I would imagine you don't subscribe. You don't get it. When's the last time you got a paper to your house?
Never.
Never.
Not to my house, no.
How about you, John?
No paper.
You've never had a paper delivered to your house?
Nope.
Like that freaking blows my mind, man.
Yeah.
But these guys, and you guys are both much younger than Kevin and I. So
I mean, like when I was a kid, we got the paper.
Your parents,
Yeah,
your parents
but
did.
like not to my house.
No.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Like you've never been a subscriber to a print version of a paper.
No.
Wow.
That's the problem right there.
Yeah.
I mean, and you guys are a couple generations younger than Kevin and I, which explains it. Because when I grew up, like everybody got the paper.
Yeah.
It was like the Times in Hammond was like 85% probably circulation.
Yeah,
everybody got it. Kevin was
I delivered the paper. I delivered the Times when it was an afternoon paper, and we had 65 papers on my little neighborhood route.
Right. So that was what it used
2
to
blocks.
be, and it really mattered. If you put something in the newspaper back then, if you're a politician on the wrong side of an issue, you felt the heat, man, because everybody's reading the same thing, and everybody's looking at you cross-eyed because they put something in the paper that wasn't good for you.
Well, and think about this also, like the fact, I think you made a good point, Tom. You know, like when the paper had an editorial page, it became almost like the discussion of the day,
Yes.
and there was public discourse.
On
And that was
radio
before-
stations,
yeah,
everything.
And that was before like social media. And then all took off. And now social media allows you just to basically disengage.
Yep.
And find what you want, or
Yep.
your
That's a
algorithm
great
gives you
point.
what you want,
Mhm.
and so you don't have that public discourse that you used to have.
That's a great point.
You know, it just changed the way we all digest news and how we all react to news. I
So
think.
as a result, tons of listenership or viewership, tons of readers, tons of advertisers have left the local media. They've been hollowed out. We've made the case pretty well, including the Indianapolis Star, which is the biggest newspaper in the state. It's the flagship newspaper of the state. It's the one that if you're a reporter in Indiana, I imagine this is the one you'd probably want to work for if you could.
Sure.
It's the biggest in the state. It's
Oh, it's
recognized
huge-
across the country.
Yeah, it's a national paper for sure.
They did a 3-part story on Radcliff that was stunning to me. I read every one at one sitting, by the way. It took me like over a half hour to read all 3 of these. They were just long and factual and detailed and just captivating.
Yeah, so I definitely want to give a shout out to those reporters. Tony Cook and Kayla Dwyer were the reporters on this, and really was an in-depth 3-part series on
This is like a book.
the Casino
Jill,
King of Indiana.
You would
Radcliffe.
love this. You should read this because I know Jill's a huge reader. This is going to be a book. How Rod Radcliffe came from nothing basically and put together a huge casino empire. And the best part of a story of success is when that person falls the fucking part and everything falls apart. And in this case, he's in the process of this huge empire that he built up is literally the foundation has crumbled and it's all falling down.
It's just an interesting story, right? You have a seed farmer who kind of made it pretty big, and he's at the Board of Trade. He's in Chicago, and then just kind of like switched gears and was like, I can do something in Indiana that I think can make me a lot of money.
Started horse
and it
racing.
did, yeah.
With horse racing.
Horse racing.
Parlayed that into basically, well, how did he do it? He did it. The key to his success was simple. He invested in influence. And what that means in state government is you buy lobbyists. You spend money on lobbyists. And since the 1990s, Rod Radcliffe has spent $8.8 million on lobbyists, which exceeded Eli Lilly in Indiana.
Whoa.
Eli Lilly spends less in the hallway than this guy, this casino executive. So you think he's up to no good? Like nobody knew this? That's the thing. Everybody knew what the hell was going on. People are getting taken out to steak dinners with this guy. They're getting shares in his company.
I think it's a really interesting insight into, how he believed the best way to get his policies or what was going to be beneficial to him through the State House. And that's the really interesting thing to me is like you get a deep dive into what these reporters uncovered into how it seemed that Rod got things through. Like if he wanted He wanted to transfer licenses. You hear in part 3, you hear all about the Terre Haute and Gary transfer from the river, from on the Buffington Harbor out to the highway, which is where Hard Rock is now. You hear about how that's a totally interesting story.
Well, that's
you hear
how
about
Racino,
right? You hear about Racinos and how it went from horse track racing to allowing gaming at horse tracks. I mean, all this stuff. It's so interesting going through it, and it goes all the way back to the 90s.
And the millions that he was donating to politicians in Indiana, $2.5 million to the Republican State Leadership Committee, which gave tons of money to state candidates, allowing for him to skirt the state's ban on casino contributions.
Talk about that a little bit.
I have a casino in Hammond. It's a Horseshoe Casino. I've never had a penny donated to me by them, ever. Not a freaking penny by anybody who works for them, by anything associated with them, because if I got a single penny, I would get indicted and thrown in federal prison. And there's not a doubt in my mind that if I got a penny from Horseshoe Casino, I would get indicted and thrown in prison, because there's a law that says you can't do that, right? However, if you're a Republican, you can get around these things, right? I can't get a penny from them, but what if my wife gets hired by them? Or what if they give me equity in their company? There's just obvious ways to skirt the law. But they did it.
And they tried to, right? They got caught a couple times.
Yeah,
I mean, there's people in prison because of it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and that's part of the story of all this.
Recent developments, right?
Yeah, I mean, so, and what the mayor's talking about is and this was a big, largely debated bill in the State House in the late 90s over, banning contributions. It was back when the State House was actually right around 50-50, so it was actual debate.
Good point.
And it passed. And there was a ban on casino executives, casinos contributing to state legislators, local officials, whatever. And so if you read the story, what the allegation is that Rod Radcliffe donated to these national committees who then funneled money back into the state.
Well, how
so
about
he was
this,
able to avoid the ban.
Well, during Hammond's debate. So now Radcliffe sets his sights on Hammond. He's like, sorry, Hammond, we're going to get Gary's Riverboat. We're going to move it from where it is, and we're going to move it on the highway, even though it was against the law. So obviously, as Mayor of Hammond, I take a position on this because I knew it was going to be devastating to the city of Hammond if Gary moved the riverboat to the highway.
At the time,
away from the river, basically.
And at the time, you got a lot of pushback from people in Gary on that.
Dude, I lost an election a year later. Okay, primarily with Gary focused against me. I mean, let's just be honest. I sacrificed my political career to fight against the Gary land-based casino because I knew what it would do to the city of Hammond. It's my job. I'm the mayor of Hammond. That's my primary job. So, of course, I'm going to go all in on something that's going to threaten the city, and I did. But little did I know that Rod Radcliffe is doing things like donating millions of dollars to the Republican Governors Association, and then they, in turn, would fly Indiana's governor around on a private jet, which is a easy way to skirt the law. It's Rod Radcliffe can't give money directly to Eric Holcomb, but Rod Radcliffe could give a bunch of money to the Republican Governors Association, who in turn could give money to Eric Holcomb and fly him all over the country on a private jet. That was happening while Hammond's bill was being debated. This guy is flying the governor around while they're debating whether or not they're going to destroy the city of Hammond's casino. And I called him out. And boy, the governor hasn't really talked to me since then. But I was right. But you're not supposed to do these things in my line of work. You're not supposed to call the governor out when he's breaking the law. But I did.
Yeah, so just a quote from the story a little bit. It mentions that on at least 2 occasions, Radcliffe flew Governor Holcomb on a private jet to RGA meetings, which is the Republican Governors Association. Radcliffe classified the flights as contributions to the RGA, which then provided them to Holcomb. One of the flights was not initially reported, prompting the RGA to amend its disclosure form with the IRS, and an investigation by the Indiana Inspector General, who happens to be appointed by the governor, found no evidence of wrongdoing.
How about this? State Rep Sean Eberhardt, a gentleman I know. I've known him for years.
Talked about it on the show.
We talked about him on the show. He's from Shelbyville, which is also a casino city. Was one of Rod Radcliffe's champions during the Gary Riverboat movement process that involved the city of Hammond. And little did we know, I thought Eberhardt was just doing this because he was doing it for the good of Indiana. Little did we know that Eberhardt was promised a $350,000 a year job by Rod Radcliffe if he did what he was doing to the city of Hammond. And Eberhardt ended up getting indicted for it, and he's pled guilty. He's waiting to be sentenced as we speak. But this guy is literally buying our representatives to get what he wants, and he's getting everything he wants because our representatives are more than willing to be bought.
Yeah, I think the thing about this story that's just crazy is that, with Tom being mayor for 20 years, it's there's so many people in the story that you know, and you personally know, and you see, and it's a very, very interesting deep dive into. It was almost like I was watching a part of it was like I was reading the story, and it reminded me of watching some of the episodes in Ozark when they try to get that casino.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, whoa.
Yeah, a bunch of non-casino people are like, "Hey, we're gonna make a casino because there's no way you could lose."
Right.
Hey, Joe, check this out. So, we're gonna play a tape that I did, and this is right in the middle of the debate. It was heated. I was under fire.
What year is this approximately?
2019. This is like in the session of 2019 while they're debating whether or not they're going to allow the Gary River boat to move. All this stuff was coming out about Radcliff and how he's buying all these people in the hallway. And Jed, who's been on our show a couple times, I was on WJOB at the time, was asking me just a simple question. How do you feel about Rod Radcliff? Now, this is before Rod Radcliff at the time was the king of the freaking casino industry. So nobody talked out against Rod except for this dumb shit mayor that you guys know and love. And by the way, I lost an election very shortly after this. There was definite repercussions for Tom McDermott because this is fucking dumb. Looking back on it, it's really, I did what I did. I lost elections.
Politically dumb, but maybe for your career, but also you were fighting for your city, which is what you
I was fighting for
do.
my city, but I fucking sacrificed a lot because of this statement here.
2019.
April 2019.
I think he's corrupt, and he's corrupted a lot of legislators, and he's corrupted the governor, and his whole goal is to get them to approve his casino expansion so that he could take two cheap licenses and make them worth billions. So he spends a little money in the legislature, he spends a little money on the senators and the reps, and he flies the governor around the country on his private jet, which is a felony, and he hopes all that pays off so that he can make $1 billion on his license. And by the way, he even goes around and hires in people like Dan Dumazich from Cherville because Dan's close to the governor. He's a smart guy. He's hired everybody in the hallway so that he gets his goal, which is to make billions of dollars off of two cheap licenses. I've seen a lot of Rod Radcliffs in my time, and if those people that act like Rod Radcliffe, if they live in Northwest Indiana, they get indicted. But down in Indianapolis, it's all good. It's normal business. But this concerns Hammond. This is my job. And these people are going after our city, and they're going after East Chicago, and I'm going to fight like hell because that's my job. And they may not like me, but they're picking on us. We didn't ask to change anything, Jim. Everything was working fine according to the Indiana law. And now Gary wants to change everything, and then Rod Radcliffe wants to make billions. So I'm going to swing, and I'm going to hit. They may not like me, but I'm doing my job.
Well, I swung, I hit, and they swung back, and they hit. They hit pretty hard.
It's a fight. That's why you have the boxing gloves.
Yeah.
But
that was rough, wasn't it, Kev?
Well, it's so
Kevin
interesting.
was nervous about this clip, for the record.
Yeah, I mean, well, I was just kind of thinking of it in context more, especially when I listened to it, and I think it's so interesting now that I kind of put it in context. You put it in the time context, which is 2019.
This is before the pandemic.
I mean, this is way before all these dominoes fell.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I think
at
is
the time,
so interesting
Rod was
to me
the king, man.
And again, I'm not trying to overdo this, but I really just think that you have a good sense of politics, and it may not, like you said, it may not help you personally, and in this case, it didn't.
Nope.
But you were calling out what you saw as something that was unfair, and
it was bullshit.
And I think this is it just really, really, really interesting about how it all panned out. And I would just encourage everybody, if you have a chance, to get on the IndyStar. I think you can get a short subscription for a quarter or something, or
it's
$2
worth.
It's
worth. I think it's 99 cents a month. When you first start.
Initially, right? So it's worth
man.
paying $1 to read these articles.
Just get
even
it online.
Get it online. Cancel it in a week if you want. If you don't like it,
don't say that. They're listening.
Well, that's fine. I hope they stick around. But my point is, get them in, and then maybe they'll stick around and listen and read the IndyStar. But it's definitely worth reading these 3 articles.
Wow,
sitting around.
I'm telling you,
pool.
man. I don't ever, and there's no doubt in my mind that they're gonna end up getting. There'll be some type of award for this.
Yeah,
no
I think so.
No doubt about it.
And we don't even know where this is going to end. So I'm sure the story's not over all the way.
I have a feeling I know where it's going to end. You
We'll
don't really
find out.
You don't start picking off. It's like if you're going after the top of the pyramid, you start at the base, and that's what the feds are doing right now. And they got a lot of people that are important to Rod Radcliffe under indictment or conviction right now, and I have a feeling that's what they're doing. That's my personal feeling. I don't know shit, though, because I'm not part of the Department of Justice. So
are you saying he's the top of the pyramid?
He is the top of the pyramid. There's no doubt about it, Joe. Right, Kevin? Would you agree that Rod Radcliffe's the top of the pyramid?
Yeah, he's definitely top of the pyramid. Whether there's an investigation, I don't know.
I agree. I don't know that either.
No.
I'm like, based on what I'm reading and what I see and the people I see getting indicted, I assume I know the strategy the feds are using, but I don't know shit because I don't talk to anybody from the Department of Justice. So,
all right. Well, that's like we said, very interesting article in the state. It's a huge news issue in the state. Check it out. Great reporting by the IndyStar.
It was great. I mean, it's not very often we just laud just excellent coverage in the media, but that story is banging.
Really interesting.
Good job to
Very
IndyStar.
interesting.
Yeah. So, okay, let's go ahead and do our ads, and we'll come back. We're going to talk about some GOP convention in Indiana. Pretty
Craziness.
interesting stuff. So, how about this? The hand-picked lieutenant governor candidate from the Republican nominee for governor, many assume who's going to be our next governor, loses in the convention.
Whoa.
Wow.
We're going to come back and talk all about it. Only in Indiana. Now play the banjos, John.
Yeah, get them ready. Get those banjos ready. Bug Guy Pest Control, serving all of Northwest Indiana with no annoying contracts to sign. Monthly and one-time services are available. Insects, rodents, and more. We offer pet-friendly, safe, effective treatments for commercial, residential, municipal, office, warehouse, and more. Give the Bug Guy a call today at 219-810-7481 or find them on Facebook to get your free estimate today.
For decades, the Ron J. Prestomer Insurance Agency has been your trusted neighbor right on Indianapolis Boulevard, serving all your insurance needs. They specialize in a wide range of insurance products and services, including auto, home, business, and life insurance. The Prestomer Agency serves thousands of people and businesses throughout Chicagoland and the Midwest. Call Ron or Ronnie today at 219-844-0103. They're here to protect what matters most to you.
And here's the Branding Room Floor, one of our newest sponsors this season. Don't let your business get lost in the shuffle of generic branding and aimless marketing. The Branding Room Floor is Northwest Indiana's best full-service marketing agency, providing data-driven results to help your business grow. From website development and digital advertising to graphic design and branding, the Branding Room Floor will set your business or organization on a clear path to strategic success. Don't wait another day to get started. Visit thebrandingroomfloor.com today and get cool things like this design of our Power in Indiana Lake County Studios sign.
Tortillas Nuevo Leon sells cool things also, like tortillas. Tortillas Nuevo, and chips and stuff like that. They set the gold standard in Mexican cuisine across the Midwest. Look for their iconic red and white label at your local grocery store and enjoy quality Mexican products made with local expertise.
Tortillas Nuevo León, hechas con amor, para ti y tu familia de todo corazón. Tortillas Nuevo León, hechas con amor, para ti y tu familia de todo corazón.
Are you facing legal challenges and don't know where to turn? Look no further than Kuklakis Law, your trusted source for legal advice in Indiana and Illinois. Do you need help buying or selling real estate? Call Kuklakis Law. Forming a new business? Call Kuklakis Law. Injured in a car crash or at work? Call Kuklakis Law. No matter what your legal issue, call 219-671-6347 to schedule your free consultation today. Who are you going to call? Kuklakis Law. Hablamos Español.
All right. Thank you to our sponsors. You know, in the Indiana GOP, it's a supermajority in the state of Indiana, meaning that they don't need Democrats to even show up for work, and they can still conduct business, which is embarrassing. It's been a supermajority for 10 years, right?
Yeah, I think the Senate's 40-10 or 39-11 now, and I think the House is...
Is it 39-11? That's better than I thought.
I thought
we only
a
had
couple.
9. Okay, whatever.
Or maybe
It's pathetic.
it was 41-9, I
It's
think,
pathetic.
at one point.
Yeah.
And I think in the House it's
Shit, I don't know.
20-something to
Yeah.
67.
Yeah.
Or 73,
It's bad.
27
It's
or something.
bad. So, in the Indiana GOP, so like they run the show in Indiana, unfortunately, and they play this game with women that I'm waiting for women to start calling out, because it's obvious that it's like a bait and switch that the GOP plays with women. They've been doing it since Mitch Daniels was our governor, and they're still doing it to this very day. So let's talk about it real quick. Before we get into what happened with Mike Braun in the Republican convention, let's talk about some lieutenant governors over my terms as mayor.
Yeah, I thought, and by the way, when you mentioned this to me last night and you were writing about it, I kind of looked online, and there's actually been a recent article on the
this?
in the IndyStar. It's
good.
right there. It's called.
Oh, yeah, good.
So
look at that.
John put it up.
So 2005, Governor Daniels is the governor at that point. He takes over in 2006 and chooses only for the second time in Indiana's history, a woman to be his lieutenant governor, Becky Skillman. She was a very nice lady, by the way. I liked her a lot. Mitch, looking back, I liked Mitch as governor, too. I thought he was very no-nonsense, good governor. But he put Becky Skillman in as his number 2. Mitch does 2 terms as governor, all right? And then many think that, I mean, if I was lieutenant governor for 8 years for a governor and you get done, you're like, guess whose turn it is?
Sure.
My turn. I'm the lieutenant governor, right? Well, Becky decided at the very last minute when it became apparent that Mike Pence was going to run for governor, and Mike Pence was getting the support of much of the GOP, despite the fact that she was lieutenant governor, Becky Skillman decided not to run in 2012 because she had a, quote-unquote, unspecified medical procedure she had to undergo. So she steps down, never to be seen again, basically. She's out of politics at that time, which sucked. She was a nice lady.
She's great.
Former Miss Indiana. Right, just a nice lady, did a good job. Mitch had a good governorship. She was a good lieutenant governor. She deserved it. Right then, Indiana could have made history in 2014 and had a woman governor, and we'd be like looked at differently, I think. But anyway, Mike Pence takes over and friggin' fucks everything up. Right, like, he was the worst, and then he was
going to lose. He was going to lose in 2016.
Right, and then he got promoted by Donald Trump.
Helicopter ride to Manhattan. Next thing you know, he's about
the luckiest guy in politics.
About to get hanged on the Capitol lawn. But
he's literally
4 years later. But
the luckiest guy in politics, other than the hanging part.
Yes.
Yeah. But Sue Ellspermann was Mike Pence's lieutenant governor. Yeah. Okay. So Sue Ellspermann was looked at. She was also a great lady, by the way. I thought she was very nice. She still is very nice.
I remember her coming up in that cold ribbon cutting at the 7-span.
Yeah.
She's very nice.
Sue was, and Mike Pence was a disaster of a governor, but she was really good. I thought she was great. And then after 4 years, everything was just messed up. And when Mike Pence gets promoted to Washington, D.C., Sue was sort of left in the lurch. They also had this guy named Eric Holcomb that was running for Senate, getting no traction, but he was saying he was going to run for governor. So he
was the head of he was a former chair of the Republican Party. Right. Yeah.
So Sue gets magically offered a job at Ivy Tech, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And she took
it. Not a bad place to fall.
She's the president of Ivy Tech, CEO, whatever they call their chancellor.
Sure.
And of the entire Ivy Tech
system.
It's basically it's like community college system in Indiana.
Yep.
It's teaches you trades and stuff like that. And she's, to this day, she's still the chancellor of the entire university system, which is a great place to fall.
Yeah.
But you can't convince me that she wasn't offered that to get the hell out of the way so Eric Holcomb could run for governor.
Well, just remember, it was a caucus, right? When Pence went away, and it had people like Rokita in it. Holcomb beat Rokita, and a bunch of other guys, is my recollection.
But, like, she saw the writing on the wall.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm not going to get supported from all these people, so I'm just going to take this badass job at Ivy Tech. And to this day, she makes good money. She runs a big university. So good for Sue, but women got passed up again. Okay? And then Eric Holcomb becomes governor, and he says, I am going to get a woman for my lieutenant governor candidate. It's like, damn, we've never seen this playbook before, Governor Holcomb, right? Great job. So he gets Susan Crouch. She's a former auditor from Southern Indiana. She's known for wearing red glasses. Let's be honest,
and
right?
Tennis shoes. Nice lady.
Nice lady. Whatever.
I've never had.
She's nice to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
She hates you, right?
Whatever.
She didn't like me that much.
Yeah.
I didn't like her that much, so I returned. She didn't, man.
All right. Well, anyway,
awkward. She was awkward as hell.
Once again, you have a woman candidate.
Yeah.
Or a woman, I guess,
Number
running
2.
mate. Yeah.
She did a good job for 2 terms. Governor Holcomb's lieutenant governor. She diligently served as lieutenant governor.
Mm-hmm.
Did a good job by most people's accounts. Okay, outside of mine.
And by the way, usually lieutenant governors, they're tasked with tourism, agriculture, and other.
And the Senate.
There you go, in the Senate.
Right.
Thank you.
So anyway, Susan Crouch is like, hey, I did 8 years, Eric. You're done. I'm going to run for governor. And
which, by the way, is unlike the last two.
Right.
Like
she's
running.
like,
I'm in.
I'm
running.
Right.
And a lot of like mainstream, I would call mainstream Republican support. A ton.
Right. But
early on.
Not Eric Holcomb's.
No.
Which is bullshit.
He kind of stood back, didn't he?
It's bullshit, man.
Yeah, he didn't push.
She didn't stand back for him. But anyway, so he didn't support her. And then she's up against Mike Braun, who's, super wealthy. And he's a male. And GOP likes those males, and
a lot of other guys that ran it. Who there were 2 or 3 other guys that were in the race.
That's right. We had the businessman, Doden, and But anyway, she lost.
She did.
So basically,
Chambers.
Right. So all these women get screwed over. That's what we're trying to say. So now we're going to come into this convention. Mike Braun is the GOP nominee for governor.
He won the primary.
He rolled into his convention last weekend. Mike Braun says, I'm going to pick a woman for my lieutenant governor candidate. And everybody said, Mike Braun, that's such a great move.
Tom, can you explain how the process works in Indiana about lieutenant governor? Like, you know how
the governor picks, and then the convention ratifies the pick.
Yeah, so it's actually like an elected position at the convention, kind of like
ratified.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, unlike Donald Trump, who is going to pick his running mate, he picked Mike Pence, and that's the ticket.
Right.
There's no decision anymore on the national level. In Indiana, the convention votes for lieutenant governor. Each party votes for lieutenant governor.
I've never seen it not get picked before.
That's exactly right.
Which means it's usually just, that's your person.
Which is exactly why I use the term ratify, because it's almost just like, okay, this is who I want. Okay, yeah, look, you got it. You got it, Mike. This is who we're going to give you.
So this year, they have a pastor from southern Indiana, and the GOP, only thing they like better than white males, is white male pastors. Okay? And this guy, Micah Beckworth, is campaigning for lieutenant governor, which is it's just not done.
Right.
You just don't see that. If you want to be lieutenant governor, you kiss the ass of the governor and hope to get picked. That's how you get that job. You don't campaign for it, right? Well, in this case, Micah Beckworth said, this is an election, like Kevin said, and I know these delegates are going to, because I'm a podcasting pastor, and there's nothing that the GOP likes better than a white male podcasting pastor.
Who likes to ban books.
Right?
Yes.
And they voted this guy in. Over Mike Braun's chosen woman to be his lieutenant governor.
Who's a House representative, a state House representative, Julie McGuire. He went out the day after the primary and said, this is who I want. And he actually called in a favor over the weekend, last week, and Trump endorsed McGuire.
Her.
Wow.
And then there were people...
Which is insane. I've never seen a lieutenant governor candidate not get, just widely, 98% of the vote, just not in the GOP, man.
And you know, it's interesting because some of the delegates said, I'm a diehard Trump supporter. I'm going to vote for him with enthusiasm, but he doesn't know what's going on in Indiana.
I agree with that.
And so he said, this is something I think he didn't even actually vet. Trump always talks about loyalty, and Mike Braun has been loyal by him and vice versa. That's why she got the endorsement. So they were talking about that. And so the vote was actually 891 to 828 in favor of Beckwith. So like, it's basically telling Mike Braun, we're going to pick who your running mate's going to be.
Yes.
And there's history in this. You want to talk about what happened 2 years ago? I mean, this is crazy, right? 2 years ago at the convention.
Oh,
so there's a
sitting.
Think about this. Incumbent sitting Secretary of State, Holly Sullivan, right?
She was Eric Holcomb's appointed. She was Eric Holcomb's girl, so to speak. You know, meaning he appointed her Secretary of State because our previous Secretary of State stepped down, and she's running for re-election as an incumbent Secretary of State. But her negative, I'm doing air quotes, Governor Holcomb is not viewed by the party as
being conservative,
they hate him.
being right enough.
Right. So it's like, oh, you're Holcomb's appointee? We're gonna challenge you.
So don't think this is an election again. This is at the convention where the delegates vote for the nominee, and that's who runs on the ticket against the Democrat in November. So Holly Sullivan, incumbent Secretary of State, is running for nomination through the convention. And there's this other guy named Diego Morales who had been fired twice when he worked for the Secretary of State. He's kind of a Trump supporter. There's allegations he was an election denier, even though he's going to be the top election official in the state. And he, just like Beckwith, he wins the nomination at the GOP convention 2 years ago over the sitting Secretary of State.
Same playbook.
Yep, and that's what happened.
Right. So basically, who's in charge of the GOP right now? It doesn't appear that anybody in power. I mean, Mike Braun's not in charge. Mike Braun can't even get his own LG pick through.
Just to tell you the kind of like what happened after the convention, Anne Hathaway, the GOP chairwoman, stepped down. Resigned.
Yeah. The top officials at the RNC, the Indiana GOP stepped down. This GOP, believe me, Indiana is a GOP state right now. Solidly red, unfortunately. I mean, I hate saying that, but I don't even think they know who's in charge of the state. Mike Braun, it's like a wild bucking bronco. Good luck, man.
Yeah.
Like, you're not in charge of this state, Mike Braun. Eric Holcomb's not in charge of this state. Todd Young doesn't, he's in D.C. Like,
it's so interesting. And, Adam Wren, who we've had on the pod several times, he's a political correspondent nationally. There was a memo that was leaked from the Braun campaign talking about this crazy part about Beckwith being nominated as the LG candidate and whether they think it's going to hurt him. It's going to be weird. I mean, right after Braun came out and said, "I'm in charge." I don't know if that's so true.
Oh, did he say that?
Yeah, he said, "I'm in charge."
Well, I mean,
We'll
it doesn't
see.
appear so.
No, it's going to be very, very interesting. I mean, this guy Beckwith, I'm just learning more and more about him.
We're going to be able to talk about that in future episodes.
Without a doubt, he's going to be one of our faves.
He's going to be like the next Mayor Tiff for us.
Yeah.
This, our new LG candidate in Indiana. We got plenty of material coming on this guy. He's great
way
for
out
LOCPOD.
there.
He's great for LOCPOD.
God came to him and said the folks at the Capitol were sent by God. God told him that.
Yep.
So
Oh,
we'll learn more.
sake.
Yep. Congratulations to Micah Beckwith and to Mike Braun with your new running mate.
Todd Rokita stealing my stuff, I see.
Oh, man. I couldn't believe this. This is at the GOP convention.
Yeah.
Todd Rokita
Oh, this
comes
is crazy.
out on stage wearing boxing gloves.
What a dick.
I mean, we don't have this here in our studio for just, shits and giggles. There's a tradition.
Yeah. He's just a
Look at
copycat.
that.
And
Do
he,
we
by
have
the
that
way,
fight scheduled?
I would love.
I mean, that would be awesome.
Because for a while I was like, it should be a Spiros and I. And we would have raised a bunch of money for charity.
Right.
And I would have beat the shit out of Spiros, which would have accomplished a lot of goals in one time. I would have been able to beat him up and raise a bunch of money for charity. But, like, I think Rokita and I, that would be, like, outstanding.
It'd be like
I would
momentous.
beat the shit out of him, though. But, like, Spiros would have been tougher because Spiros got that reach and he's a lot bigger than me.
Yeah.
I would pound the crap out of Rokita, though. He would. Let's go, man.
Rokita-
You wear your boxing gloves, I'll wear mine, Rokita.
Rokita mounted the stage in red boxing gloves, miniature versions of which supporters wore on lanyards. He promised to fight the Democrats' woke agenda, and the entire crowd approved him with a yes, so this by acclamation, no nays, and then he descended to the crowd with the Rocky theme song playing.
Wait. Describe descended.
Well, I don't know.
He
Floated.
went down the stairs.
He
He
was
went
on
down
like
4
a-
stairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is totally lifted.
Yeah, I
from
know.
this.
Look, come
Look at
on,
that.
man.
And by the
You've
way,
been using
Todd
that
Rokita's.
for
Yeah.
how long?
I
Credit
started
Mark
using
Anderson.
it in 2007.
Dude, did you trademark that?
No.
Yeah, obviously
didn't-
not, because everybody else is using it.
Remember that guy in Indianapolis?
Yeah.
He literally, every wrinkle in the glove was copied.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Every wrinkle.
But
the only
cool-
thing that wasn't copied was where it says McDermott.
The
Like, he
cool
copied
thing-
everything about it.
The cool thing about that, though, was that he, loves you. He
Yeah, he
loves
was a
you. It's
fan.
like,
Yeah.
that's why he did it. He's
He
like,
was
he did
like,
it in,
I know.
homage
I
to
know.
Tom McDermott.
Yeah,
you
we were
know?
giving him shit, and then we were like, oh, this guy's a fan. Yeah, my bad.
There you
but
go.
Todd Rokita is not a fan,
No.
and he doesn't deserve to copy me. And he does know about it because he's from Munster. And it was everywhere for probably 8 years. I used that logo everywhere. Todd Rokita saw it 1,000 times just coming back to see his parents.
Brought it out.
So, anyway,
Flattering a bit.
thanks, Todd,
Yeah.
for stealing my shit.
General.
Yep, the general. All right, and then we're going to close out the show with an excellent Jeopardy clip, right?
Oh, man.
That never appeared in the show notes. for
Oh,
me,
well,
by
I
the way.
guess we're not.
You want to put the
Friday.
link in there and I'll throw it?
Yeah, we'll do it
I
Friday.
I didn't know it was a link. I thought it was going to be a question because
No.
it just
I
said.
forgot to put it in.
No,
Yeah.
never mind.
It's actually really funny.
Yeah,
We'll do it
yeah,
Friday.
take your sass back, Kevin.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, Kevin forgot something.
Yeah, I didn't put a good note on the bottom that said insert clip. Okay. Sorry, Tom.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll look forward to that for the next show. But
It's a good one.
anyway, another.
It's called a teaser.
It is a teaser. Thank you, Joe. But that was a good show today.
Yes.
We covered some real stuff, and gave you guys some good advice if you want to read some good articles. The IndyStar is worth the. It only charges you a couple bucks a month. It's worth it.
I thought you were going to say we gave you some good advice about the creepiness rule. I thought that's where you're
creepiness
going.
rule is
That's
great
talk about
advice.
great advice.
It is. We've given a couple LOCPOD rules. The one about like if I suddenly die, how long Marissa has to wait before she can remarry. That's a LOCPOD rule also.
Yeah.
What is
1
it?
month per
Remember?
year.
1 month per year.
With a max of so many years if you're
Yeah.
really old.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Didn't we say it was like a max of
yeah.
a year? if
1
you're-
month per year. So
Why
if
are
I
we not
kick,
writing these down? Like, we can
they're
have a
mentally
book.
buried. In,
Tom's got
so
them all in his
Marissa has
head.
to wait 24 months, 2 years.
Yes.
After 2 years,
And
she's
counting.
available, guys.
All right.
But I have to kick first.
Nah,
so.
we don't want that to happen.
No, I agree. I don't.
Stick around.
I definitely don't want that to happen.
Stick around.
Not for a while.
No.
Anyway, thanks for listening to LOCPOD, everybody. Your source of good thumb rolls. Season 12, episode 16 is in the books. Appreciate you, Jill. Great to see you again. Jay Vez, thanks for great quality production. Kevin Chandler, it's great to see you. Thanks for letting us use your studio and coming to you live from Munster, Indiana. LOCPOD Studios, Smith Sursick. LOCPOD Season 12, episode 16 is out.